U.S. National Mountain Bike Champ Jeremiah Bishop and Colombian Danielle Hernandez took charge on Alpine Hill.
We're now down to 4 countries and 4 riders. We've got the Italian champion, we've got the European champion, and we have a Pan Am gold medalist in this group. And let's not forget our man from Colombia, Danielle Hernandez.
Danielle Hernandez, our wild card in this one that we know less about than the others.
Estamos en el Corral Race, 20 minutos para salir, saliendo un frío al berraco. Estos bulos ahorita los tiramos y ellos los recogen para donarlos. 5.000 personas hoy, todo es de puente.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first video I make with English commentaries. I'm an amateur bike racer from Colombia and I usually make videos of all my races just like this one. I have been making them for over a year now and got heavily inspired by other YouTube channels like The Vegan Cyclist, Jasper, the Trainer Road and NorCal cycling videos. So if any of you guys are watching this, thank you very much. I really love your content. Okay, so let's get started with this race. This is the Grand Fondo of New York that is held in the USA, in New York. I say that because the Grand Fondo of New York franchise holds over 20 events around the world, and this is the grand final where the champions of the other racers come here to face each other. I know Grand Fondos don't have the best reputation as a racing event, but let me tell you that the amount of talent and good people that want to come here to race and finish first is really great. Of course, not all 5,000 of the people that come here come to finish first, but at least 100 of them want to be in the top 10, and those who finish in the top 10 have an FTP of at least 5 watts per kilo. But let's put that aside and just start talking about the race. Even though I had a good position at the start of the race, I still had to do like 360 watts average for the first 4 or 5 minutes. And as you can see here, I'm not even close to the front of the race yet. Here you can see the course profile. It's a 100-mile race with 8,500 feet of climbing. The format of the race is the best in my opinion because the winner is the one who crosses the line first. And as you can see up there, there are 6 critical parts of the race, which the most important ones are number 3, which is Bear Mountain, which is a 4.5 mile uphill at around 5.5% gradient. Number 4, which is a really hard part with gradients up to 20%. And number 5 and 6, which are short uphills, but they hurt really bad when you have 85 miles on your legs. As I kind of mentioned earlier, one of the most important things you have to do in a race like this to be able to win or at least be in the top 10 is that you have to be in the front when the race starts. So in a race like today, you not only have to classify to be in the front group, but you also have to arrive at least an hour or an hour and a half earlier than the race starts. To qualify to a front corral or a race corral as they call it here, you have to finish in the top 10% of one of their other races, which I did a couple of months before this race in Colombia, in a much hillier and in a lot more altitude than this one. I'll leave the link up there for that one if you want to check it out. So finally, after around 10 minutes of racing, I cut the front group. Their pace slowed down a bit in this uphill section, and then this downhill section started to come, which is actually pretty fast. I think in this part we almost reached 50 miles, and just when that downhill section finished, I touched the front of the race for the first time here. And just when I do that, there's this random guy attacking the whole peloton by himself, which by the way, he's the least random guy in the field, as I'll show you later. But I didn't know that yet, so for whatever reason, I went for him. I attacked the field and made sure no one else was following me for this around 30-second effort I had to make, like at around 500 watts average, so it was not that bad. And it was also not that bad because there was a short uphill coming next of around 1.5 miles at 5 to 6% gradient. And it was going to be worth it if I could hang around this guy's wheel for, I don't know, 3-4 minutes before the climb. And well, he just looked really good and really committed to it. So who is this guy? Turned out he is Jeremiah Bishop. He's a current professional mountain bike racer from the Canyon Top Peak team that specializes in ultra long distances and used to be the national US champion of marathon and cross-country mountain bike racing. Of course, I didn't know that in the race, being from Colombia and not knowing much about the scene here. I had no idea, and he just looked pretty strong to me. So lucky for us, the peloton did not respond to our small attack or breakaway attempt, and we took around 40 seconds on them really fast. So it meant that we took that uphill section I mentioned at our pace, and in the meanwhile the peloton did a really big effort on that climb in order to catch us here around 5 miles after I went for him. After we turn here, we're going into the highway, and the two guys you see in front are gonna attack the field and go into a really long breakaway. Here you can see as it happened, and I can tell you now that they both went solo for more than half of the race. Jeremy tried to go to the right here and go for them. He put a good effort here to try to catch them, but because we still had around 90 miles to go and we were a big field back here. So I went really close by his wheel, and when he asked to pull, I just stepped aside and let others do that work if they wanted to catch them. Here you can see some footage of the live stream they were doing of the race. The peloton was really strung out because of that effort they did on that climb. So in this flat part, many people were still trying to catch, and it was really fast. So it was like one file, as you guys call it. Right now I'm right there on the front, and just in front of us you can see the two persons that went solo for almost half the race. They had to dig really hard in the first 2-3 minutes because the peloton was going really fast and they were not gaining any time, but after that they gained around 2 minutes on us really easy. But you know what? Let's hear what others think.
This is an optimistic move to be able to hope and stay away this.
It was optimistic, but I'm one of those racers who like to break away early in a race, so you gotta take your chances, and sometimes it works, you never know. And as you can see here, some people try to attack to follow them, and after that we went to kind of like an urban area with a lot of turns and some cars that you can see here. And after this there was a climb which had like really short but really steep uphills. And as we approach one of them, I'm gonna teach you something that I learned in a trainer road video, and it's called saga climbing. The main purpose of it is to conserve energy throughout a race by not doing efforts as big as the ones in front of you. So you're kind of going at your own pace and letting other racers pass you by. And this makes a lot of sense because, as you will see in a moment when the climb finishes, there's gonna be a flat section in which you don't want to be in front. Right when the hill finishes, you're still gonna be in the peloton, but you had to do less effort than the guys in front of you. So you can see right now I have 15 guys in front of me. There were 3 guys in front of me when I started that climb, and I'm still with them, and we're going really slow now. So what's the point of giving it all you have on that climb if you're not gonna break away from the peloton? So that's side climbing for you, and you will notice that I do it a lot in this race. And while you can't deny it has some risks, like the guys in front of you, if you let them go too far, they can break away and it's gonna be really hard for you to catch them if they have the right composition. But this is bike racing. You take your risks and you play by your strengths. You can tell I did a lot of side climbing in the last miles because look at the front of the peloton. It's really strung out and the front guys are really far away. So I was surely taking those risks because 3 to 5 guys could have broken away and we wouldn't have even noticed. So you gotta keep that in mind. We are right now passing by Hudson River on this left turn. We're still in New York State, but in New Jersey if I'm not mistaken. And look at this guy jump. Those were nice skills to have here because the road was not as good as I expected to be. And it was also my first time in this race, so you had to really pay attention at all moments. I took out the camera for a moment here to show you the whole peloton. I think we were around 50 people remaining. And this is around the 40-mile mark, which is right before the start of the Bear Mountain. This climb was by far the part of the race that worried me the most. I know I can hang around the pure climbers on short climbs, but this was another monster. I was weighing around 75 kilograms or 165 pounds, which is not a super heavy guy by US standards, but by Colombian standards, yeah, I'm really heavy. The first half of the climb was not that bad. I think I did around 330 watts average, but then towards the end, when it gets steeper, it got much tougher. For now, let's talk for a moment about this guy in front of me. His name is Ricardo Piqueta, and he won this race 2 years ago. And also he won the Grand Fondo of New York of Portugal and Italy this year. He used to be a professional until 2015 and he's a really good climber. He probably weighs something like 55 kilos or 122 pounds. So this Italian guy was definitely someone to watch and someone that everybody knew around. So whenever he went, everybody went behind him. I think a couple of seconds ago someone on the front attacked and everyone else started to follow, so they picked up the pace really hard, and as you can see Piqueta doesn't have much space to go through, so I think he didn't attack right here because he didn't have that space. But as you'll see in a moment, we won't be able to hold him back anymore and he attacks. And as expected, everyone will start to follow him. After this many whistles, I think it was 7 minutes left on the climb and I had to do like 400 and something watts average to be able to follow. It might look like it, but I'm not really sag climbing here. This was me going as hard as I could for the time that I knew that was left on the climb. And I was kinda worried because like 4 people had a decent gap on us, but was also kind of relieved because I had 3 friends and teammates close to me. And unfortunately my first camera battery died here, so I'm gonna show you some footage of the end of the climb. So one of the guys that broke early in the race passed around 1 minute before these 5 guys, which include Piqueta, and around 15 seconds later the next group passed and I was in it. So right now this was gonna come down to do a fast time on the downhill to discount some of those 15 seconds. And we surely did it. I think we did the first and the second best time on that downhill, in Strava at least. So shortly after downhill, this was the remaining people. I think we were around 20, if I'm not mistaken. And I took this chance right here to change the cameras because I brought another one, as I knew that one GoPro was not going to be able to record all the race. And before I forget, we catch the guy that was remaining from the breakaway from mile 10. He had like 30 seconds on us right here and we catch them in the next 5 miles. If you remember in the first part of the video, I told you that this part of the race was going to be really hard. For more than 20 miles after the downhill section of Bear Mountain, there were no flat parts. It was all up and down and they were really steep sometimes. And as you'll be able to see here, I took every opportunity I had to sag climb, so I just let these guys pass and still be in the group. And was also trying to focus really hard on the other parts of the racing that are really important, like eating and drinking, analyzing your opponents, following other riders closely to conserve energy, while also keeping a hard eye on the road ahead. I knew this 20-mile part that I talked to you about earlier was going to be hard, but it was a lot harder than I thought. If we zoom in that section down there, you'll notice that with a normalized power of 320 watts, it took me around 58 minutes. And this was just following wheels. Many riders try to attack in this part multiple times, but it didn't really work, as everyone just seemed to be going full gas on every small climb. For example, this climb here was around 45-50 seconds, and I think we did around 500 watts average. It was just nasty. Those who didn't woke up with good legs today were not with us anymore. I know the part that you just watched looked like an attack, but I was just really getting up to speed because this part right here had a 15% gradient or something like that. And the next part was also really hard, so I was preparing to sag climb again. You can see me right now at the front in the white, and we were around 17 people more with me. I was taking some time to recover here, but it was not going to last long. On the left, Piqueta just launched an attack again, and everyone started going full gas behind him. If anyone here had a trace of a cramp, for sure they were going to get dropped. And just when you thought that it was time to get a little rest and recover, take a look at your left and step on the gas again, because they were not going to wait for you. Alright, finally, we catch them. Can you guys just please give me a minute to recover? We're finally for real together again, but don't blink, because what's going to happen is important. This is the moment that, without really attacking, I started breaking away with another guy from the peloton. Now from my camera you can see the last 10 seconds again. I went behind this guy on this small downhill section. It was not really a downhill, but something like -1, -2%, but he was a really big guy, so I just took his wheel right here. Notice how we didn't really attack here. We just had some good momentum from that downhill section, and we kept going at a pace to be able to recover from the efforts we just did. By the way, those two people in front are not part of the race. Right here, I was talking to him. He was asking me for some food. Unfortunately, I had some extra, so I was handing him some gummies right here. But in a moment, you'll be able to see from another angle that the peloton just gave us a gap. And as soon as I saw that, even though we had 30 miles left approximately, I just stepped on the gas again and decided to go. You can see that same part here. This is from the Grand Fund of New York live coverage, in which I put an overlay with my data too. And you can see them looking at each other, also with the help of my two teammates that were right there in the front. We only had like 8 seconds on them right here, but it was pretty weird because all the race we were really together, and all of a sudden they just let a gap open. So right there, that was me looking back, realizing we had a gap, and stepped on the pedals. Didn't want to really show my card, so I didn't really stand up and sprint. I just got on the front, laid down my head, and put some power in order to break away. Fortunately, the guy that was behind me decided to come too, because I was just decided to go, even if it meant that I had to do the rest of the race solo. I went pretty hard the first 3 to 4 minutes, watching the field get further away, with the objective to lose sight of them, as it's much easier closing a breakaway gap when you have them right in front of you. This guy that followed me was struggling at first, but after some time and after believing our breakaway had a chance of succeeding, he started pulling, and we were taking equal pulls from there on. In the first 5 kilometers of the breakaway, we gained a gap of around a minute, and after that it increased, but very slowly. And by the way, this guy in front of me is called Jochen Wallenborn. He's from Germany, and he was invited here because he won the European Grand Front of New York. He was really big, and he really made me look like I was a climber. The breakaway started at the kilometer 108, and you can check the current distance on the right side of the overlay. In the meanwhile, I was also going to talk to you about that hashtag up there, Breaking4. It started this year, and it's a prize for the winner of the race if he manages to do it under 4 hours. It's supposed to spice up the race and make it quicker, but that doesn't really work here, unless you have a team of at least 8 really good riders. I did the math in the Best Bike Split website, and I would have needed to maintain a 360 watts average the whole race. In other words, 25 miles per hour average with more than 8,000 feet of climbing. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. The best time so far, I think it's around 4 hours and 17 minutes. And this year we did it in 4 hours 21 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. But enough of that, as around 25 minutes after we broke away, 2 people jumped across and joined us. It was Jeremiah Bishop and Ricardo Piqueta. Yes, a Pan American champion and a previous winner of this race joined the European champion and this random Colombian guy. One part of me was happy that it was not going to be only the 2 of us taking the wind head on, but the other part screamed at me that they were really strong and the field was probably going to get organized behind us and catch us all. And I had spent way too much energy to get and maintain this gap. And now that we have this Italian guy in front of me, let's talk about him, because he made me suffer so much in this race and the last parts. I mean, he didn't step on the pedals and attack us, but when he went on the front, he was really strong and he just put like 400 watts, and it was kind of like easy for him, but for us it was really hard, and I think that was a pretty good strategy for him. In fact, in the next climb that you see on the profile down there, he almost dropped us. He stayed on the front, I stayed on his wheel, and we were really struggling to follow his wheel, and it was only like 15 kilometers after that climb ended to the end of the race. Like right at this moment, we're in the middle of that climb. I was like following his wheel, going more than 400 watts, and I didn't know at the time, but Jeremiah Bishop actually was suffering more than we did, and he was starting to get a gap. I didn't notice this at the race, but I wish I would have, because I was really suffering, and seeing someone else suffer like that, it gives you a little bit of energy back. Even though I was happy that he didn't drop me on this climb, when I saw the other 2 guys behind me, like right on my wheel, it hit me pretty hard, and I realized that I was probably gonna get 4th place if we continued like this, because right now my legs weren't feeling that good and I started to get some cramps. The effort I had to make in order to stay on that guy's wheel was just too hard, and we still had a climb left before the finish line. It was around like 1 mile, 1.5 miles at 6 or 7% gradient. And I've kind of already knew that I wasn't going to have the legs to follow them on an attack on that climb. So around this time, like 10 kilometers before the end of the race, I knew I had to start attacking. And I know it sounds weird, but we were already 4 of us and we had a decent gap on the rest of the field. So the worst I was going to make, it was 4th place. And as I knew that I didn't have the power required to follow an attack on that last climb, at least I would have to try to get a gap on them, like on the way there. Maybe I would attack and they wouldn't get organized and follow me, and I would get like a 10-15 second gap that I would kind of use on that last climb in order for them to not break me apart. But well, that was my plan. I'm not sure if it was the best, but that's what I was thinking at that moment. As you have been seeing in the video, the attacks already started happening. The guys in front kind of attacked. Jeremiah didn't follow them in time, so he had to bridge to them again. I stayed on his wheel, and at this part, like, I don't know, 8 kilometers left for the finish line, we started looking at each other. So I kind of took this time to try to break away, but unfortunately the second GoPro battery died soon after this. But fortunately we have the Gran Fondo of New York live coverage footage to show us the end. This right here was a small, like 1 minute climb that was left before the last kind of big one. I stayed in the front because there was no wind and because I didn't want them to attack. So I just put some power in front so they could be happy behind me. So I could be happy for if they didn't attack. And right there was me pounding on my legs with my fist because I was having bad cramps. And it looks like it was working because right here I'm attacking them, trying to get that gap I was talking to you about, but Piqueta didn't let me get at least like 10 meters away, so it wasn't really working. Right here we were starting that last little climb, and as you can see, Ricardo wouldn't even let me blow my nose away from them. He just followed my wheel or whatever attack. He was really strong. And as you can see right now, Piqueta is attacking. I'm maintaining 400 plus watts, and he just made me look like I was standing still. And I even maintained like 330 watts average for that last climb, but they were just better, and not 5-10 seconds better, 40 seconds better.
It looks like one rider has been dispatched. Hernandez is off the back. Hernandez unable to respond to this move right now, which leaves us with 3 riders as we're going uphill right now.
Now that I am out of the picture, let's focus on these 3 guys. So Piqueta maintained that attack. He took like a 15-second gap on Jeremiah Bishop and like a 30-second gap on the German. And the only thing he had to do was to maintain that gap for these last 2 kilometers that were straight up plain. But Jeremiah wasn't going to give up that easily. As you can see him there, he was going really hard on this flat section. And Piqueta didn't really give up until around 500 meters before the line. They kind of started playing games, but at around 200 meters before the line, Jeremiah attacked him from the right, but he got blocked. And then from the left, and he got blocked again, like really hard. You can see it here. He almost crashed there. So although Piqueta crossed the line first, he got relegated to second because of those blocks, and the German guy got third. Around 40 seconds later, I arrived. And this is it. I was pretty happy with my performance. I hope you guys liked this video. I have many other videos in my channel, but narrated in Spanish. So if you like this one, let me know. Maybe I'll do some more in English. I just wanted to test the waters, really. I'll just leave you with some training peak stats on screen, and I'll see you in the next one.